Good evening, friends, and welcome to Between the Lines with Rob Reynolds. Tonight, I have to tell you, we have a very special guest, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. But if any of you are familiar with Incarnate Word Academy and you're in the St. Louis area, well, I should put, if you don't know what that is, you must have been hiding for about the last 10 years. A very, very strong athletic program for girls based in the St. Louis area. And I have to tell you, about 2 or 3 months ago, I was just kind of flipping through social media and listening to what was going on television. And I heard a name that, to be honest with you, I hadn't heard since fourth grade. And that was when I met this young man, and I was substitute teaching then. His name's Tanner Wilkenson, and he is the coach at Incarnate Word Basketball. Welcome, Tanner.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Well, I tell you, I was saying at the time, and of course, it got my rabbit ears listening to what was going on. But how was it that you came to be the coach at Incarnate Word?
So out of college, I kind of knew I wanted to get into coaching. I spent a little time at the University of Missouri with their women's team as a scout team member and a practice player on the ladies' side. So I got to see kind of what it takes to be a coach and at that high level, and it's something that I've been craving ever since. My dad's been a coach all my life, so it's just something I wanted to get into. And one day before the season, I saw that Coach Rolfus was looking for an assistant on staff, and I knew Coach Rolfus pretty well, just with all of the coaching he does. And I've actually, growing up, I would go to Incarnate games and watch like Nafisa Collier play and all these high level girls. So I knew about the program through that, and I just reached out and started talking to him. And he said if I wanted the job, I could be there on Monday at 3:00, and I haven't missed a Monday at 3:00 since. So it's a great program to be around, and that's kind of just how it all came to be at the start.
That's awesome. What I was thinking about it is that how many people, when they start their career, they think, you know what, here's what I want to do. And during that time of your life, you get to do exactly what you wanted to do. I mean, how special is that?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to my dad about it, and he said, "Hey, you're young. This is the time to go and kind of follow your dream or whatever your passion is." And he coaches basketball and is a teacher, and I don't think I necessarily want to follow in the same teaching path as my mom and my dad, but
right,
definitely coaching is something I've always been interested in. Currently, I'm like you said, I'm an assistant at Incarnate Word Academy, and I'm also coaching a sixth grade girls team that's on a pretty competitive level. So I really enjoy coaching and being around like-minded people that kind of have the same mentality that I have. So it's just a great fit.
Well, and I will say one thing, Tanner, you're really you're being modest because you step into a pretty, in fact, not pretty good, a huge role in March in kind of an emergency situation. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we Incarnate Word, we were playing in the semifinal game down at Mizzou Arena. We were lucky enough to beat Rockbridge, who has a pretty solid squad themselves, and advance onto the final. And then after that game, Coach Rolfus had a heart attack in the parking lot after, and we were kind of taken back. It was kind of like a situation that doesn't seem real. It kind of just felt like a movie. Like this wasn't really supposed to happen, but you have to kind of brush that off, especially when the girls look to you as us as coaches, as leaders. We have to just kind of step up and do our jobs all together, and that's what we did as a staff. Obviously, if you follow girls basketball, you saw we ended up winning the state championship. It was great. And getting to that sixth straight women's basketball championship is really cool, and having the streak that we have of 131 in a row is special. But we knew that last one was for our coach because we knew he was fighting for us, so we had to go and fight for him.
Wow, that is just awesome. And I have to tell you, there's not a person today that didn't watch that press conference. And here you have this guy up there who is the acting head coach, and he's up on the dais where every male wants to be someday. And you're there, and you are basically you're the head coach for Incarnate, where you just scored the state championship. How great is that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a stressful 36 hours, I would say. There
definitely wasn't much sleep that weekend heading into the semifinal game because we tend to stay up late the semifinal game and scout whoever we think is going to win the other semifinal game just
Right.
in case, so we have that film. So us as a staff, we didn't go to sleep until about
midnight, 1 o'clock on
that Thursday, and then obviously that Friday we were thrown into that situation of, hey, you.
I was the acting head coach,
but really it was all of us as a staff doing our own part. We stayed up till about 2 o'clock in the morning watching film on
our final game. So we did that, and then
I wrote up a scout. I mean, our whole goal was to just do everything that Coach Rolfus would have done.
He prepared us
for that moment. So we knew we just had to have the girls prepared and ready to go, and that's what we did. And they started the game off really hot, and you could tell that there was a lot of tired legs heading into that fourth quarter. And our message was kind of just, hey, hold on, we got 8 minutes left. This is your last 8 minutes. Some of them was their last 8 minutes of their high school career. So I said, hey, this is all you got. This is all it needs to be.
Wow, that is awesome. And I just saw over the weekend a special on the coach, and he's doing great.
Oh yeah, Coach Rolfus is doing great.
If you have the time, go on over to Frank Cusimano's Twitter or X and check out that little report. Coach is doing great. He's expected to be back next year and coach at Incarnate. I mean, if he's going to do it until he can't do it, so I think that's kind of the goal anyway.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was a great
piece done by KSDK, and if there's any more interest in that, it really goes really talks about kind of the people that got Coach back. His wife did a great job of performing CPR right there on the scene.
Yeah, it was one of our other
assistant coaches also was there doing CPR. So it was a lot of people that
worked together, and we're super thankful. We all of our prayers have been answered.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this. When I first met you obviously were one of those people that you just knew that you were going to be successful in whatever you decided to do. You go all the way up. You play athletics in high school, and you coached at in college at Mizzou. What made you want to go into coaching girls basketball as opposed to boys basketball?
I really didn't have a preface, I would say.
I mean, I have 3 younger sisters. My dad has grown up. When I was growing up, my dad, he coached
girls and boys. So I've been around really all kinds
of basketball, and that's all it is. It's just there's nothing really too crazy that differs. Obviously the athleticism and height is something that you can look at and say that's different, but I mean, it's all the same game. I love coaching girls. I've gone over to my alma mater of Francis Howell and helped out a little bit over there with the boys side, just because I'm pretty close with their coach. So I've gone over there a couple times and helped them out, and it's funny seeing the difference between the girls and the boys game at the high school level,
especially at the level that we play at. So
it's pretty cool to see how technically gifted some of our players are, and how really detailed oriented they are with their work. It just goes to show kind of how Coach Rolfus does everything at Incarnate Word, and how and why they're so successful.
Well, now, as far as having been a player and now you're coaching girls, which one? And you probably coached boys somewhere along the line. Which one do you find that is more open to coaching?
Open to coaching, I would say definitely the girls. But I would say on the boys' side, it's a lot of like having to explain things multiple times, and trial and error is a lot of the time.
Right.
I feel like when you're coaching girls, they're pretty receptive to first time coaching. So I'll say something, and usually it doesn't take me saying it 2 or 3 times after that. They usually get it pretty quickly once you kind of get that level of understanding where you see their face and you're like, okay, that clicked for them. A lot of times I can tell when, especially our players, just being around them so often, is I'll say something to them and they'll say, yes, I got it. And they'll give me a look and I'm like, you don't have it, do you? And they'll say no.
That's great.
Which is I think a little bit different from the boys. Like I think I could say that to a boy and he would just say no or like, yes, I got it and not really have it. So I think it's just being open to coaching is kind of the big difference.
And you know what? I have to tell you now, girls basketball. I mean, could it be any bigger with the Iowa girl that's the star and has the scoring record and all that? Let me ask you this, and I have no idea what you're going to say, but let's compare Caitlin to the lead. I can't escapes me right now. The boys leader that she surpassed. Which one is the better player?
See, the Pete Maravich is I believe the record she passed. But I can't really say anything about that because I'm not old enough to really remember or watch Pete Maravich play. But I mean, seeing the things that Caitlin Clark does, she's really a pioneer for women's sports. Because there's really no one that's been able to do all that. There's obviously been great individuals that have kind of carried the torch through the women's game. But I was reading something and there's a huge thing right now in the women's game that it's really about to go through a boom. I would kind of compare it to Larry Bird and Magic Johnson in the 80s.
Really?
Indiana and Michigan State, because you see Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins and Cam Brink. There's the individual stars in the game that will get people to watch. So I think the WNBA is really in a great spot. You look at kind of where they are. They're only in their 25th season, so you have to kind of compare that to where the NBA was during their 25th season, and
absolutely.
that was in kind of the 70s, 80s time. So it makes sense that, all right, you're about 20, 25, 30 years into building this huge association, and now it's time. Okay, we have the groundwork, we have the fundamentals, we have our 12 teams, and now it's time that it gets super competitive, and you can start bringing in more money that way with the TV and all these individual stars that are about to enter the game.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, as far as what you can predict, you say that's on the move, and that's just going to get better and better as time goes on.
Oh yeah, the skill level between girls 10 years ago today, just at the high school level, is extremely different. There's the skill and the training, and you now see girls, like a lot of our girls at Incarnate Word are doing their own personal off-season training away from what we do at Incarnate and what they do at the AU circuit. They're going to gyms and doing lifts and getting in speed and agility training. Just that, I feel like that wasn't happening. I mean, I know even boys 10 years ago, there wasn't all this extra effort going into it. So you just see the extra initiative that these ladies are taking, and it's why I love doing what I do, because you can really see the transformation and the process from when they start as a sixth grader all the way up to when they go off to college and get all these D1 offers and get to spend the next 4 years doing what they love at the next level.
You know, I saw over the weekend, I saw some things on Instagram of some different kids, and I didn't even know them. That I don't even think they were from this area, but I noticed that it was travel ball pictures. And do the girls have that same circuit? Do they do that too? Yeah, so we play on the E40 circuit, which is kind of a circuit that travels through
the Midwest. Our girls have played in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. They'll go down to Louisville a couple times this summer. There's a big tournament this weekend in St. Louis, so they travel a lot, and that's how they get a lot of their local coaches. This is a huge huge exposure time for them to get their name out there and get tape and be seen by coaches. And I mean, we've had one of our sophomore, soon to be junior guards. She just got offered by Dayton, and I'm excited for all of them because they're in a big moment of their life where junior year is really the year where you get a lot of looks and a lot of offers. So this is a big time for them, and it's great seeing the success that they're having.
That's awesome.
out on the AAU circuit.
Well, and I know that was very big for boys, but apparently someone has seen the light, and it's the same way for the girls. It's bound to be a big deal.
Yeah, like Nike does their own
thing for it. Under Armour has their own little circuit. So it's really pretty cool. Like our girls were able to play in a big Nike showcase at the end of the year in Florida, something they qualified for. So that was, you can really see even at this AAU level, and you can go up to the Division I level and just look at how drastically different the NCAA tournament is. They used to not even be able to use the phrase March Madness for the women's tournament. That's just during COVID, there's a big kind of piece out about how the training facilities and the locker rooms and all these different arenas where these girls were playing are so much worse than the big arenas that the men were playing during the tournament. And that's just been a huge change in the last couple of years. Just the funding going into each used to be very drastic, and now we're seeing more of an even split, which will only help the development of the girls' game.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Well, related to that, and this I'm sure is involved with women's athletics too at the college level. What's your take on the name, image, and likeness, and also the portal? What's your feeling on that?
I'm all for name, image, and likeness. I think if you're a college athlete and universities making money off you, you should definitely be able to make some money on your name and image and likeness. Kind of where it all goes awry, I would say, is just kind of how that's spread out and divvied up, because there's really no way or set rules to do it. So it's kind of the wild, wild west right now. But if you're I'm not gonna be opposed to anybody getting paid. And it's kind of the same thing I feel for the transfer portal, where we have rules set in place, but it's really, you can kind of go wherever you want, which can be a negative connotation if you're a fan of a school. Like I'm a huge Oklahoma football fan, so anytime I see our players hit the portal and leave, it does make me sad. But you kind of just have to realize it's whatever best for that individual, because the way I see it is if a coach can just get up and leave and go somewhere else, then I don't see why a player shouldn't have that same opportunity to go and do that as well.
Well, so you look at the portal, like when you see someone hit the portal, you don't think, oh, well, they don't get along with the coach, or I didn't get to play, or whatever. It's like you don't look at it that way.
I think there's definitely circumstances where it is kind of that situation, but I think the majority of the time it's, hey, the system just isn't matching my style, or hey, I moved far away from home and I'm homesick now. I want to travel and go back to, maybe, like, we have great universities here in St. Louis, not just SLU, but I mean, UMSL is a great Division II program. Lindenwood's a newly Division I program. So there's just a lot of options, especially like that option right there of, hey, maybe my system doesn't fit at this big school. I can transfer to a smaller school and get some tape out, and then by my senior year, I can transfer to that big program and achieve the goals that I really want to achieve.
Now, how hard is it for let's say a high school athlete? Now, this could be boys or girls. How hard is it to get recruited, get seen, and kind of get what you want to do?
I think I mean, if you have talent,
You'll be seen.
I think that's definitely. I don't think there's people missing
The talent. Kind of just it's all about how you go about that. Are you going to play on the AAU circuit and get seen that way? Or are you going to go to, a highly prestigious high school and go and travel the country and play in all these showcase tournaments at the high school level, like a Chaminade or an Incarnate Word or a CBC. You can. I mean, that just goes for any sport. The better team that you play on, the more opportunities you're going to have to be seen. That's kind of a big thing at our school, is where all of these girls they want to play together because all these girls are very good, and they're going to get looks, and they're all going to get offers, and when you play the style of play that we do, it's contagious, that you're all just going to get better, and you're all just going to be ready to go.
Wow, that's awesome. What an exciting time. I mean, that's got to be one of the most exciting times in a kid and, frankly, parents' lives.
Oh yeah, you feel it's pretty cool feeling
when you have
high level coaches calling you
and asking about you and showing up to your practices and watching you play. I mean, it's kind of, it's like a big movie star, big star, a big man on campus, as we say, when we have a bunch of coaches rolling into town to watch us play and practice. It's always cool. And I mean, our goal is just to prepare the girls for that next step and putting them in the right position to achieve whatever their goal is at the next level, whether it's individual or a team goal. Our job is to just put them in successful positions to go on and do that later on.
Now, you've had so much success early, and obviously you love what you do. I mean, it's in your voice. You can tell it by the things you say, your thought process. It's very, very evident. What's on the horizon for you?
I love coaching at Incarnate Word.
That's what
is on my mind first and
foremost. Helping those girls get better. I mean, I've been there for 2 years now, and it's going to be tough for me to go and do anything else. Obviously, I would love to go and coach at that next level of whether it be college or like head coaching somewhere at the high school level. But definitely for right now, it's Incarnate Word is my main thing, and I'm really excited to get started with them. In June they come back from AAU ball, and we get to spend the month together and do a couple of showcases. Our team camp will be there, so it's a great time hanging around, especially our youth team camp, where we get to bring in the third and the fourth and the fifth and all the younger kids to Incarnate. Awesome. And be around them with the girls. So because we have a lot of little girls in our Knights program that come to that camp and will come to our games during the year. So it's really cool to see our Knights players interact with our Incarnate girls, and it's just fun because it kind of feels like they're the big, the big star of all these girls get to come and watch my games, and now all of them get to talk to me and all of this, and it's just cool to see. It's great to give back.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Tanner, you're a class act. I knew you were when you were in fourth grade, and now you've proven me right. But thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Anytime, you're welcome. And we're going to be watching you, and we're going to see big things as they come up in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on. No, this was a great time. This was really cool.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Folks, that was Tanner Wilkenson, and as you can see, he is basically an up-and-comer in the coaching land, loves what he does, one of those that is got it going on. So we've come to the end of Between the Lines. I appreciate you listening, and we'll be back with you next time. So long.